Guys, we picked up a 225DX for 450 bucks. If you're new to the channel, thanks for tuning in. We're gonna get this thing fired up and running, hopefully in this video. No, we're gonna do it in this video. Now they say the 225DX was the answer to Honda's 200S. They say it's better. I have a 200S. If you've looked in my other videos, you've seen it. And we love that 200S. We have a lot of fun on it. I've always been a Honda guy. Other than the Tri-Zs, I've owned a few of those and I've always liked them. This will be the first 225DX we've owned. We're gonna check it out. Why do they say it's better? Well, you can't do that on a 200S. It's got suspension, front and back. Now the 200S will have the front suspension. The 185S Honda doesn't. That's a whole nother show. Another option that was nice about this has electric start. We're gonna get that working because our pull cord doesn't. That was another option that the 200S was, not all of them had it. Now I think some did. I think there was a 200, you could throw in the comments if Honda had a 200S. I think they had a 200ES or something else maybe that had the electric start. I'm not sure. Enough yapping. Let's get this thing tore down, get this carb cleaned up. We're gonna check it for spark, do a compression check, and see if this thing has any possibilities of running. All right, we get the seat out of our way. I've already unbolted these plastics just for the sake of time in the video. Let's check and see if this thing's got any spark. Well, first of all, we gotta get the spark plug out. And let's just take a look. It smells gassy. It's NGK, so that's good. Okay, so what we'll do, so we'll go ahead and put this in here. I'll get the battery hooked up. I'm gonna hold it and see if it sparks. No, I'm not. We're gonna go ahead and put it up against the metal of the motor, the head, if you will, and then we'll see if we're getting any spark. So let me grab a jump box. We'll set this like this, and you guys can tell me if that's sparking. Okay, we are all ready to see if this thing's getting spark, so let me know, guys. Looks like it's looks to be sparking pretty good. And we're gonna go ahead and do a compression check and we'll see if it's got enough compression to run, because we are definitely getting spark. All right, we're all set to give this thing a compression check. We're gonna go wide open throttle, and here we go. I think that's it, guys. Now let's see, what did we get? I can't see it. 120. That should be enough to run. It might be a hair low. I'd like to have seen 150 or 60. So we know we have what I think could be enough compression to start this. I tried to look it up, but I couldn't figure out exactly what the 225 is supposed to have. But I do know most engines will run with at least, if you have 90, you're good. We got 120. So we're gonna try a little bit of the old starting fluid. We're gonna spray a little down the cylinder just to see if we can get this thing to fire. The guy we got it from said he switched the carburetor out and it wouldn't run after that. We do have the original carburetor, so we are gonna open that up, check it out. We'll end up putting that on if this fires it. So let's just see if this will fire it, guys. Let's just take a look. Let's just try it. I think that should do it. We'll throw the plug in. Hopefully that'll be enough to at least tell us something, you know? I mean, it'd be nice just to know if it will fire at all or not, or so let's give it a little snug. I think that'll be enough. Hopefully it didn't all evaporate in the amount of time it takes me to do this, though. Oh boy, I didn't get that on there very good. Looks like we got juice. Hopefully it doesn't start full throttle. You heard that? I heard that. That's exciting. So we do know it'll fire for a second, at least, on starting fluid. Now, I think that's all it's going to give us. So if it starts on starting fluid, we know two things. It will start. It will run. That's awesome, guys. We know we're going to be able to ride this in this video. So I'm thinking we switch this carb back. He bought a carb off of Amazon. He gave us the original carb. Me personally, if I can use an original carb, I always do. So we're gonna go ahead and switch this carb out. Then we'll see if we can get it to fire. If it still doesn't fire, I'm going to say he's got an old gas issue. So we're going to stop here for tonight. We'll bring you guys back tomorrow night. It's getting kind of late. I'm getting kind of tired. I got a real job I got to go to tomorrow, just like everybody else. But with the beauty of YouTube, it's only going to take you guys a couple seconds, and we'll be right back into the action. So for now, we're going to put this on pause. We're going to give Bob a little wake-up slap. That'll be it for tonight. Okay, guys, so I was looking at this carb. We're about to switch it, and I believe this filter's on backwards. I don't think any gas is getting... I can see gas in the filter. I don't think any gas is getting through the filter to the carburetor. We're going to flop this around. We're going to switch that filter around, and we're going to try this again. And maybe that's the whole problem, and that carb might work perfect. So before we go switching the whole carburetor, let's flop that filter and just see what happens. Maybe if I pull this line off, let's just see if there's any gas that comes out at all. That will tell us a little bit of the story. Oh no, there's gas coming out. Okay, I stand corrected. I stand corrected. The carburetor is definitely getting gas. The filter may or may not be on the wrong way, but either way, the gas is flowing through it. So I guess we are going to go ahead and pull that carburetor. All right, we're back. It's the next day. We're going to get this carburetor switched. We'll see if we can get this thing to fire up. First thing we got to do is there's 2 bolts that hold the carburetor on. Got a bolt on each side. Let me go around the other side because it's getting kind of tight, and then we gotta take our throttle off. No big deal there. I kind of already loosened that up a little. You guys can probably tell that because I didn't unscrew it. Okay, we got one bolt off. We'll set it up there so we don't lose it. This bolt's almost off. Slide it back a little bit. It gets kind of tight in there. There we go. We just got to slide it back enough. Oh, they have a choke on this one too. That's right. So we're going to have to loosen this choke up. There we go. Okay, we got the choke out. Now we should be able to pull this back. Slide it right out of there. There we go. One carb out. So I still wonder why this carb wasn't working. But I'm thinking, go back to the old original. Okay, I had to switch out some of the choke stuff. I went ahead and did that. I'll probably have to switch the slide too. I imagine it's going to be different. Before we go too far, we better get these other bolts started. If I don't think we'll be able to start them. They make it real tight in here. Once we get them started, we should be okay. We don't give you a lot of room. There's a little cutout. Just enough to start a bolt, basically, is all they're going to give you. Alright, let me bring you guys in here. Let me bring you guys in here so you can kind of see what we're dealing with here. And if you don't mind that, that'll happen sometimes. You get a little gas leak, but here's what we're dealing with. They have this cutout here. Might be a little hard to see, but it's hard to run the bolt in if you don't start it. It doesn't want to start all the way back here because the cutout's not big enough. But we got it on there. So we'll go ahead and I'm doing this one-handed, but that's okay. We're going to go ahead and snug this up. Just kind of wanted to bring you guys in so you could see what's going on. And I'm going to guess, I'm hoping this choke's okay. It's a little weird the way it went in, but I think it'll be alright. I'm probably going to have to switch the slide also. Yeah. It won't even go in there. So we're gonna go ahead and get that slide switched. We'll throw some fuel line on it. And let me grab that slide and we'll get it switched out here. And there we go. How's that? This fuel line's kind of a mess. Don't really care for how big it is. On this end, and how small it is on this end. It's really a poor setup. So I might try to dig up some new fuel line. The question is, and it's pretty short, I mean it's just barely enough to even reach. Okay, we're going to put a jump pack on it. That will give us the power we need to try it. I'm going to say she still has some carburetor issues. So we're going to dig back into that. We'll bring you guys back and see if we can't get this thing to fire. Alright, it's the next day. We tried this carburetor. This is the original one. As you saw a few minutes ago, it wouldn't start. We're going to pull it back off and clean it. I came out this morning to a big puddle of gas on the floor. So we got a float that's sticking or it's bad. It's either sticking or it's bad, one of the two. So we're going to pull this back off. Okay, we're going to go ahead and clean the carburetor. First thing we got to do is get this float ball off. Now we're going to lose a little gas. I tried to drain out as much as I could, but we have got to check these floats. Because somewhere, somehow, we have got a float that's sticking. That would be my guess. I'm hoping you guys can kind of see what I'm doing. Just gonna, we're gonna try and do a quick walkthrough of it. I'm not gonna go into too much detail, but if you've never took a carb apart, if nothing else, you'll be able to at least see, you know, how they work, what's inside them. I'll try to give a little bit of a rundown. And it looks like I may have did a pretty good job draining the gas. So there's some dirt in there. It doesn't look horrible, but there is some dirt in there. So we'll get that cleaned out. So the first thing we got to do, this is going to be your main jet here. So let's get that out. And it looks like that circuit thing comes, that little cup there, it came off. I was going to say, I thought those were supposed to just come off, but matter of fact, I thought those were supposed to be on top here. So somebody had this in the wrong place, first of all. So that would be our first problem. This is supposed to go up here. So that is definitely an issue. Next thing we're going to have to do is blow through this, make sure it's clear. I can see through it. You probably won't be able to on the camera, but I can see through it there. We're going to check all these. There's little holes here. We're going to check those out. Now the other question would be, why was our floats not shutting off? So we'll pull those out and get that cleaned up also. The way you pull that out, there's a little rod right here. You're just going to shove that through. Got to get something to get it to come through there. Gonna have to find myself a little something that I can push that through with. Something like this right here would work. So I'm going to slide that out. Just like that. Simple as can be. and it should slide right out of there. For some reason ours is stuck. So that tells me something else is wrong. Because that should slide right out, and it's not. So we got some issues going on here, guys. So we're going to have to figure out why that is held up so tight. It's supposed to slide right up and down inside there. Yeah, that definitely tells me this carburetor is going to need a good cleaning. This is your idle screw right here. Which you don't want to adjust that until your three-wheeler's warmed up. And this, in that little jet way down in there, which we're going to try and find us a small screwdriver, get that out and clean it too. That's your pilot jet there. And that jet has to be cleaned also. And that's the jet that's going to help this thing start. If that jet's plugged up, this thing's going to have a hard time starting. That's why we want to make sure we can get that out and check it. Found a little screwdriver. We're going to pull this jet out and see if it's plugged up. I'm hoping that it is, honestly, because if it is, then that would explain why this thing's not starting. Or, you know, it just helps it to start, though. It still should start by rights. But it might explain something. I guess I could get this nasty rag out of here since I'm not leaking any gas. There we go. Oops, I forgot I left that in there. So there it is. I'm going to try and blow through it and see. Okay, I blew through it, and it does. This is actually clear. The next thing would be to find out if this is clear. So the only way to do that is to blow through it also. So let's give that a try. And that is clear, and the gas tastes yucky, as usual. So we can put this back together, since those all came out good. And this pilot jet is just a full tightened situation, I think. Yeah, the pilot jet, you just want to fully tighten it up. Gonna tighten her, you know, it's just snug it. They're brass, guys, so don't get too carried away. And this, which was set up wrong before, we are going to set up right. We're going to put it on the top. And we're going to take our screwdriver, tighten her down. Just enough. So there's that. So far, so good. Now this one here, this is your idle circuit. Now generally, like right now, it's all the way tight. That's a little much. You should be at least 1.5 to start. That's going to at least let it start. Now this could have been the problem. Having this too tight will not let it start. So we're going to go half. We're going to go 1. And we're going to go a half. So we're going to start at 1.5. We'll see what that does. You really want to adjust this after it's warmed up. I think I just said that earlier. But I'm going to remind you again. It's kind of important. Next thing, this is a floating needle, they call it. It just floats on there. If you were to have to adjust these floats, you can bend this little tab right here down. That's going to let you adjust this needle to shut that off. And we're hoping that it's already adjusted, but we are going to check it. This back together can be a little tricky sometimes because that just hangs there. And when the way you got to do it is you got to get it to drop down in there just right. Into the right spot. Then you're going to take that rod we pushed out earlier. Remember that, guys? Hoping they can see. Can they see, Carter?
Not really.
What?
Not really.
Well, then why am I even doing this? Can you adjust it?
They can't see what you're doing right now.
How's that? Great, this whole part, this whole video is going to be no good, probably.
I'm going to zoom in.
Well, I'm done now.
That's much better.
Okay, so we got the float put back in there. And now, I wonder on the adjustment. So generally what you want to do is hold it up like this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to blow through here. And if air is coming out there, then these floats are too high. If that's stopping, then that means it'll stop the gas. Having it upside down is that's gonna simulate the gas being in there, is what we're trying to do there. So hopefully I can blow through it and it will be stopped. And then if I lift it up like this, air will go through it. So let's try that. So we're gonna blow through right where the gas goes in. Normally you would do this with some compressed air, but I don't have any, so. Now it seems to me air is still coming through there. Yeah, we got air coming through there the whole time. That means we're gonna have to adjust the float. That would explain why we had so much gas on the floor. This tab right here, just push that down a little bit like that. Hopefully that will give it enough. I don't know. We're gonna try it. That's much better. Now you can tell by the pressure. I don't know if you guys can hear that gas. Still doesn't taste good. I don't know if you guys can hear it on the camera. My mic's not working right now. But if you can, listen carefully. So there you can kind of hear that maybe. If not, pretend like you could, and then you'll be good. Anyhow, that's going to give you an idea how to set those. I think we'll be close there. So we're going to give it a try. We're going to throw this float ball back on. Now don't forget to put your little cup there. That goes on here, not under there where somebody else had it. I don't know who. We're going to throw this float ball back on. We're going to throw this carburetor back on. And we are going to see if this will fire up. So just sit tight. We'll bring you right back. Don't worry. We'll bring you right back in just 1 second. No sense you guys watching all this. Ready to give this a try? Oh, sounds hopeful. Haha! So far, so good. We're going to have to make a few adjustments, it sounds like. Oh, I think we lost our jump pack. It's not wanting to stay running. It kind of is. Alright, so we got it to fire up on its own. We got to jump back, going crazy. We got it to fire up on its own. It's obvious, well, it's not obvious, but I believe we have a little bit of a possible, looks like our battery light's on. We're getting a little bit of charge, guys. That's a plus. We might have to try and charge that battery up. I believe we still have a little bit of a carb issue, possibly with the choke. Although, let's try turning the choke on and starting it and see what happens. We just can't get it to idle on its own yet. But I didn't play with the idle. So, but I'm just glad we heard it fire up. That's the most we've heard so far. So in my book, that's a success. At least somewhat. So let's try this again. Let's maybe turn this up just a hair, just to see if that helps. We're getting closer. I think that idle was just turned way too far down. There you have it. Voila. Boom! So, she's idling on her own. So far, so good. I'll tell you what we're going to do. It's nighttime right now. But what we're going to do tomorrow, during the day, we're going to take it for a ride. That's what I'm talking about. It sounds pretty good too. The guy said it had a dead spot, but I'm not hearing it. We'll find out tomorrow. She's idling good. I like it. Okay guys, I don't really remember where I left off. We did have to pull that carburetor back off, and I had to fix the float. When I adjusted that float, I didn't adjust it quite enough, so it was pouring gas out the float bowl. We are getting ready to ride this thing. I gotta air this tire up, and then we're gonna be ready to go. Well, a little note, or just a little something to think about while I'm riding this. I have no brakes. Look at this foot peg, guys. Somebody had a bad accident. There's no brakes here. The top brake does nothing, so that's perfect. And I think I have a little bit of front brake. I do, not a lot. So we're gonna go easy on the front brake anyway, because you don't want to go hard on a front brake. So let's get it fired up. Let's take it for a ride. Now it fires right up. I'm gonna click one up for the gears. Even stays idling, no choke. So let's give this a try. See how she does. Hopefully the gears work. So far so good. We're in second gear. Not bad. First and second gear working good, guys. Third gear works. But I do like the back suspension. Third gear's working. Let's go for fourth. I don't know how many gears this has. Fourth gear's working. And I think it's all. I think it's only a 4-gear setup. Yeah. Well, if you watch this long, we do appreciate it. The thing I noticed that's pretty cool, it's got a little neutral light up here that does work. The headlight's working. I'm not sure on the tail light. And the tail light works. So that's pretty cool. We do have to fix this pull cord still. And I guess I could just let this thing idle. We gotta fix this pull cord. If you guys want to see us do a repair video on the pull cord and see us do some more repairs on this thing, throw it down in the comments so we know we're in the right direction. Because sometimes I just don't know which way to go. I'm a little bit all over the place, but we appreciate each and every one of you watching, especially watching a video this long. We try to have a good time. And if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button. It helps a brother out. Thanks for watching. Okay, so Chance was filming us. I thought I'd just throw this at the end of the video. He wanted to take it for a little spin. Oh, I do see it smoking a little bit. Now, when we first put gas in it, we did throw some mixed gas in, so maybe it's burning a little bit of that out. I just did that to help the rings. But he said, I asked him if he wanted to take it for a spin. He said, yeah, I'll give it a quick try. So I just thought I would add this, you know, extra footage at the end of the video here. It definitely rides different than our 200S because it has front and back shocks. It's pretty cool. And again, everybody, thanks for watching, and just let us know if you want us to do some more videos on this. I guess that's all for now.